Hey, what's going on? So, I forgot my hat, so you have to enjoy my haircut that I did all by myself, as usual. So, today, I'm going to be talking about flying drones, and I'm not going to be getting hit by a car. So, I will say that I don't want to get hit by this car. Just going to go take the. Hold on, let me take this photo real quick. I'll be right back. I realized that being a photographer doesn't mean always capturing a 10 out of 10 photo. I enjoy just capturing where I live, and this just happens to be Cowson River, and I never took a photo of it, and now I took a photo of it.
I've never seen a blue duck before, and to be honest with you, I wanted to see a blue duck.
Only in Kodiak is there a rocket driving in front of you. Okay, well, probably happens in more places. Right, so that guy in front of us is going 15 miles an hour, so he's gonna be a little bit before we get out there, but that's okay. It's like 8 o'clock. I'm waiting for the sun to set, or at least get these clouds kind of lit up, so I can fly my drone. And today's video is going to be drone tips that will help you improve. So I got 5 of them for you. So we were just here not even that too long ago, and I came here for this video. Tips on flying your drone. And yep, once again, it's just as beautiful, except there's actually a nice sky today. I know what you're thinking. It's easy to get drone photos when you're surrounded by this beauty. Well, yeah, it is, but I'm telling you how to make your drone photos better. So number 1 is to shoot vertical. So basically what you're doing is taking your photos in sections. You're gonna have a lower one, a middle, like neutral photo, like that you would shoot normally, horizontal, and then one a little bit higher, and then you'll merge them in Lightroom. I'll show you what that looks like right now. Basically, I got my drone up right now in the air. And you can see I took 3 photos straight down. Typically when you get to the bottom one, you're gonna have to overexpose it a little bit to get better shadows. And then when you get to the higher photo, you're gonna wanna underexpose it to get the details in the highlights. That's kind of common sense, I guess, but just in case you didn't know. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get more of a direct line that's kind of split in half, where half rocks, half ocean. So I'm gonna do that now, and I think I like that composition right there. And I'm gonna fly a little higher, and I'm gonna go up a little bit. I will shoot at f4, so I have full highlights. 1 photo. Okay, once the mountain is kind of touching the top, so I know it was in the first picture, I know it's in the second picture, and then I'll go a little bit lower, and I'll know most of that was in the photo too. And Lightroom shouldn't have no problem getting that in a vertical panel. That's basically how you're going to shoot Lightroom or your vertical shots, and then I'll show you what to do in Lightroom right now. All right, we are now in Lightroom, and what I'm going to do is I should have all my drone photos right here, and I'm going to show you first how to merge them into a vertical panel. Now the first one I took, I did an underexpose and an overexpose of the lower spot because there were some really darks in there. So I'm gonna hold all 4 photos by holding shift and then clicking the last photo. Then I will right click and make sure all 4 photos are highlighted. If you can't tell, it says 4 selected right here. So now I'm gonna go to photo merge, and I'm gonna do HDR panorama for this photo. It says unable to detect, so let's just see what this does here. It might just do its own good job. And it looks pretty good. We'll see what it looks like when we bring it together. There's 3 different options: spherical, cylindrical and perspective. These two work the best. It just depends on the situation. I notice when there's water, perspective works better. This is what cylindrical will look like. So I don't like that one. I like that 4x5 look, and I'll just hit merge. That will do its thing. Up here on the top left, it says creating panorama. See that here? And I'm just waiting for that to finish. Okay, I got that here. I'm just gonna 1-star it. I'll show you why I do that in just a bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same thing and just merge all of the photos that I've taken. So I'll fast forward that. So basically this 9-photo panorama, it's just a bigger photo. I could have taken it maybe further away and get it all in one photo, but I think this might look good under spherical. So I'll hit Control M. It is a shortcut, and I'll let it do its thing. Perspective might look weird, but we'll see. Oh, that actually looks okay, but it looks like it cut up too much. It looks like it's too wide. So let's see what spherical looks like. I like spherical a little better. It gives some depth into the mountain, where perspective kind of is just too far away. And this one's different. Instead of looking up, I just move forward. You can see Angelica laying right here. I just move the drone forward, and this, I've only done this a couple times. Sometimes it did not work. Sometimes it does. This is where perspective comes in the best. And it worked. So I'm pretty happy with that. So the reason I 1-starred it is down here on the bottom right, it says filters off. If you click that and then you just hit rated, it will now only show you the photos that you starred, which makes it a little easier on the eyes for editing. And if you notice that you're thinking these photos are way too bright, that's just Lightroom the way it merged it. It will definitely be able to recover the highlights. As long as you expose properly, you'll be able to recover it in Lightroom. You can see Angelica here. So that was kind of fun. Let me show you my editing process now. I guess we could start with this photo, since it's not a perfect 4x5. First thing I like to do is go to crop, and I'll select 4x5. So there's that. I don't like how the beach starts here going out. So what I'll do is I'll probably crop in a little bit. Maybe crop in a little more. I might just not be a fan of this photo. You can see cropping in though, it really doesn't lose much quality. It's still a pretty detailed photo. That's why I like the Mavic 2 Pro. I think I'm gonna leave this like that. So the first thing I'll do is I'll bring up the warmth just a little bit. And every photo I edit differently when it comes to the colors. It just depends on the light and everything. So that's just, keep in mind, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. This is where you can kind of have some fun. I play with the contrast because I'd like to see where the photo can go. So maybe I'll just leave it here for now. And we'll bring the highlights down to recover that a little bit. We will bring the shadows up a little bit. And now it looks like a dull image again. So I will bring the contrast back in. And I will just touch up the white point and the black point a little bit here. Okay. And I actually like where the white point was. So now I'll ignore the texture, dehaze, and all this stuff for right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play with the colors. I'm going to move the yellows more to an orange. And maybe increase that saturation a little bit. Well, that's actually a lot of it. But you can see it didn't do much. And I'd like to play with the luminance. Maybe I'll bring it down just a hair. And now if I play with the orange, that's where it will really change. So I don't want to do that much. So I might move it just a little bit more towards the orange, since it's not green just yet. Okay, I like that. It kind of looks more like the sun. There's the before, and there's the after. And I will now go to the blues, and it's already it's already a nice blue, but I'll just make it a little more aqua. Maybe bring the saturation up, and I'll bring the luminance up And the blue, this blue will really, so it moves it too much. It moves the sky too much, but I'll just move it just -6 right there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we'll just leave that. I'm gonna leave it like that. So that's kind of what I got going right now. This is where I go back up to play with the I never even noticed it's called presence. And first things first, I'll play with the sky. I'll get the sky where I want it. I'll make a gradient. I'll reset that. And I'll probably just increase the clarity a little bit. Dehaze a little bit. Now you're like, what the heck do you do with the dehaze? So when I bring the dehaze up, I always bring the saturation down. It's just, you have to do it. And texture, I don't know if I want the sharp. I like the sharpness in these types of clouds. So I'll leave the sky like that, and then I will make a new gradient, and I will reset the exposure here. And let's bring the shadows up a little bit, exposure up a little bit, contrast. And I'm going to make it like this and bring the blacks down. Okay, and now I'll decrease the saturation again. And I like to decrease the saturation because it just gets way too fake looking blue. And since the ocean in this photo is kind of in the shadows, you're not really going to get the true blue that it is. So I'd rather take that kind of moody look. So I like how that is right there. Yeah, see, it looks too fake blue. It looks like the highlight. It looks like the shadows are blue and not the actual water. So that's why I bring the saturation down. I like to always move this. I'll never really do anything with it. Clarity, maybe I'll bring that up a little bit. And let's see. Now this is where I play with all of my other colors here. I like to bring that down and that up. So I'm not really liking what the mountain's looking like right now. So what I'll do is I'll make one of these filters and I'll bring it across. And it's so annoying. My thing always bumps it up to 4. I'll invert that. I'm going to make the clarity. How do I want to do this? Clarity up, texture down. Dehaze, no. That's all I want to do right there. So that's before and that's after. That's my first photo. Now, if you look in the thumbnail here in the top left, kind of looks like the shadows are too dark. So I'm going to click the gradient again. I'll click this and I'll just bump up this exposure just a little bit. And maybe bring the contrast down just a little bit. And when someone might look at my thing and say, wow, I move all the sliders to the right, but I also move some stuff to the left too to balance it out. And it just gives it a different look. It's the look that I like. And I definitely think it looks better than just how it looks out of the drone like that and that. This is what the final image looks like. I really enjoy how it came out, and like I said before, the sky is my favorite part about this image. It really complements the foreground. Okay, so tip
Watch
number
out.
2 for drone photos are these ND filters for your drone. These are made by Polar Pro, and basically you just snap it on like this. ND filters are basically what people say sunglasses for your drone. I don't know if I care for that term so much, but it gets you an idea. It allows you to shoot in harsher conditions with better camera settings. So you're not shooting at 1/2000 at f/22 to capture a photo. You can shoot f4 with a 100 ISO, and they really come in handy for video, but they do help with photos a lot on bright, harsh days if you're trying to capture the details in the sky. Something that goes along with ND filters brings me to point number 3, and that is do not be afraid to shoot under 1/100th of a second. This Mavic 2 Pro that I have is very capable of shooting 1/10 of a photo very nicely, and I've even shot 2 to 4 seconds in the right conditions. It does come out okay. So we are gonna head to Surfers Beach, and we'll talk about point number 4 when we get there. All right, we're now at Surfers Beach, which brings me to point number 4, and that is to scout your locations before you go. Not only do you know what you're going to photograph when you do this, but by doing that, you can also save drone battery, because you might pull out somewhere and think you just got the coolest shot in the world, and you drive a half a mile down the road, you're like, I just wasted one of my two drone batteries, and you want that shot instead, because that's happened to me a few times. So definitely do some research on places you're visiting, so you're not surprised when you see something better than what you thought you saw. Gorgeous night out. I'm gonna take off on the drone one more time, get some more photos here. Okay, before I start talking about tip number 5, I have a little bonus tip for you. Check the temperature. Holy smokes, my fingers absolutely frozen right now. But I'm just taking some photos of this beautiful sunset here. This is probably my favorite photo I've taken this year so far. I really enjoy the composition. The log that's in the river that splits it really catches my eye, and that's what I like about this photo so much. Oh, and that was a pretty sky too. If you like this photo and can see it above your fireplace, you can check out chrisluckphoto.com and make a purchase. Okay, and tip number 5 is to just enjoy yourself. You know, it's It's not a competition. It's about having fun. And if you had a good day, if you go home and you say, wow, that was a good day, it's all that really matters. That's what it comes down to. But just like in regular photography, drone photography, just try to keep a composition simple. You don't have to have all these fancy things in it. I enjoy a simple composition. Some of them that are complex are pretty cool, but you know, it just depends on the situation. Just don't just point your camera or your drone and just take the photo. Put a little thought into it, and it'll inspire you the next time you see something pretty cool. So I'm gonna go warm up. That's all the tips I have for you today. If you like this video, if it helped you, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't like the video, well then fuck off. Or unlike the video, I don't really care what you do. But okay, I'm getting the truck. I sat in my truck for like 10 seconds, but you gotta look at this. This is just beautiful. I mean, I live in a place where the mountains and the ocean and the snow and the clouds just connect. I mean, it rained like the past 4 weeks straight. This is always worth it though. It's always worth it.